Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the LFC transfer room. As you can see in sweltering England, as Stu has seen right there, he's ready for Diad 2, as Kev just said. He is ready to show off the guns for the ladies tonight. Reece had his turn. Kev will be next week for those that are interested, by the way. Some big news coming out of Liverpool, of the world news in terms of transfers for Liverpool. Maybe transfers out more than transfers in at the moment. There's a lot of worry, there's been a lot of controversial takes over the last few days, I think, and a lot of meltdowns online. Some quite justified, but some obviously go too far. But we're going to address certain situations and why certain people feel the way they do regarding the club and transfers. I mean, we've got Theo Squires at the Liverpool Echo now commenting on he's not happy with the way the things are going and the way things have been addressed by the club. But we'll get into it tonight, and we'll make sure you get your chat into the live chat at the side, whether you're on Twitter or YouTube. Please come over to the YouTube if you want to get your live chat. You can also tweet from Twitter to get across here as well. We will get your comments online, get your views on the Euro situation, get your views on Trent, get your views on the future, get your views on the transfers of Liverpool right now and where we stand just before a month away now from proper season starting, boys. So it's getting closer and closer than season. Boys, how are you doing? Stu, you're looking very hot tonight, my friend.
Thank you very much.
And take that how you want to take that.
No, I'm doing well. Enjoying the weather, obviously. Making the most of it.
We don't really get it in England much, do we? So it's a very rare occasion we get this sweltering heat. Reece, how are you doing, mate?
I'm good. Can't complain. Great weather today. So, yeah, I'm good.
We are in for a treat tonight. We're not just having Stu doing his little dance half an hour in. He's not been told that yet, but we're also in for double double night. Kev, last night and tonight you are doing overtime. You will get double pay after the stream. How you doing, mate? How you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. I hope this weather. I'm off tomorrow, so if the weather's like this at 5 o'clock in the morning, the deck chair's out and I am out. But no, all good, mate. All good. How are you?
I'm calm. Like a lot of the fans, but I am calm. But I'm also, again, like we're saying every week, like I'm patient, but I'm also, the frustration is building up, and at some point it is going to come out. So let's start with the big news that people are already talking about in the chat. Dirt Salim says, Salu, we are a club with zero ambition. That's why Trent wants to leave, as well as Maka. Also, the Maka situation as well. That's just come out recently as well. LSE, welcome, Jay Bray and Hughes. Everybody's lucky out on for watch for now. So the biggest news of the day is Trent Alexander-Arnold, and this is the headline on the front, on the thumbnail as well. There you go. Someone's not happy outside about the Trent Alexander news either. He's thinking about Real Madrid, and he's thinking about the season, according to the Independent, according to Miguel Delaney, who's a very, very reliable source as well. We give him full moon on Twitter. So he's increasingly tempted at Real Madrid, and is giving this season to look at Liverpool and say, where are we going? He's going to see how it goes, according to this report. Reece, with the Van Dijk news last week, there was Van Dijk comments last week. I know we said last week it was off emotion and things like that, but like I said last week, it could be building up anyway in his background. Mm-hmm. Now the Trent things, and then Maka's dad's been saying stuff. Is the rightfully worry there about Trent?
A little bit, but for me, people can't be too upset that. For me, it is Real Madrid. For me, he's allowed to be interested in Real Madrid. He hasn't actually come out and said that he wants to leave Liverpool. So until I kind of hear him like a direct statement saying that he wants to leave, then I would be like more concerned, because he's kind of the future ideally for me, because he's already the vice captain. I would have thought he would be going next in line for maybe captain after Van Dijk, and because he's a Scouse as well. But you can't blame him for being interested. It's Real Madrid, and obviously Bellingham is there. He's kind of like his best buddy. But a little worried. But until he kind of comes out with a direct statement, the McAllister news, I haven't heard anything about it. I'm just going off what you just said right now. So
it's going to hit you like a train in a minute.
All right, okay.
He said he's off, Reece. He said he's off. He said he wants to move. He said he likes Spanish clubs.
Yeah, but until I hear that from McAllister, why is his dad speaking for him? He's a grown man. I mean, like, come on, man. Come on, man.
Kev knows what I've just done there. Kev knows what I've done. But yeah, his dad has said something a little bit about Real Madrid as well. Not too much, but he has said a little bit like his if the interest was there, possible. Kev, Trent, obviously, Scouse born like yourself. It means a lot to Scousers to stay and play for Liverpool. Gerrard had it. He had so many times where he could have turned his head. He actually did turn his head at one point. That's why he was burning his shirts. Chelsea, we're going to go Chelsea. Real Madrid tried a few times. Mourinho tried it when he was over there. Would you understand, as a Scouse point of view, would you understand, any understanding at all if Trent were to leave?
I totally get it. You look at the criticism he gets for doing one bad thing in this country, and the media are on him at a shot, and it doesn't take much. Now, I think what's playing on Trent's mind is that he's having a bit of an identity crisis. I think he doesn't want to be a right back, and he wants to play somewhere else, ideally in midfield, and it hasn't worked out the way he thought it was going to do when he went to the Euros, because it's just been absolutely decimated. As I said last night, there's a big conversation to be had with Arne Slot, and based on that will be based on what he does. It's the biggest conversation that Arne Slot's got out of everyone who's got contract cut talks coming up. It's integral that he gives the ambition of the club. He shows them where he sees them, and I don't mind Trent taking the time out to do that. We're in a bit of a transition. We've lost one of the best managers in the world. And at the minute, we're going through a new structure, a new way of thinking, a new thought process, which is similar to the way FSG have ran the club over the years. But every single summer, we expect something's going to change, but it doesn't. So we there is a bit of inevitability about it, but it doesn't harm me. If you look at what's happened, he's had probably the toughest 12 months in football. At Liverpool and at the Euros, especially at England. He's been decimated by a manager that doesn't know how to play him right. You've got an identity that he's kind of vulnerable about because he doesn't want to play right back. We know that. But where do you actually see him play at the minute? And it hasn't worked out the way he wants. And I don't mind him thinking of going to a country and playing in a team where they're not going to be that bothered about his defensive issues. They're going to let him play the way he wants. And Real Madrid would then have the best right back in the world or wherever they want to play him. And as usual, Real Madrid will wait and see. They'll be like the wolf waiting in the background until something's decided, and then they'll pounce. And then that's when we have to look at it. And then that's when the few may happen. But at the minute, it's just talk. He's as Reese has quite rightly said, he likes, he wants, he likes, he's appealed by what Real Madrid can do, but I'm not that too concerned as of yet. But it is a big conversation that Arne Slot's got at the minute in the first 2 months of him being manager.
Evening said, Heliot, so who's got the tickets for the match on Friday between Liverpool and Preston? I think the way the ticketing system goes at the moment, I think it's been put into closed doors just because of how the ticketing system works at the moment behind closed doors. So so Arne Slot is playing is managing his first match and a behind the closed doors game against Preston on Friday tomorrow. I say Friday, it's tomorrow. Kev made a very, very good point about where does he see himself playing Trent at the moment? Like he might not want to play right back, but if he goes to Real Madrid, it is likely going to be right back. He ain't going to get into the midfield. And it's a tricky one because he's saying there, I want to see how this season goes, but this season is his last year on his contract. So seeing his season goes, and then that's letting him go for free next season.
Yeah, I can't see the club allowing that to happen, so to speak. The whole situation's going to, I don't know. I think, again, with Trent, as Kev quite rightly pointed out, the way he's been treated over the summer, especially sort of by the media, but also by Southgate, has probably got him reevaluating a couple of things. I can't blame him for that. I can't actually blame him at all for not wanting to leave the club, but letting his contract run down. Maybe he thinks he's given all he can to the club, which, at the end of the day, he has won everything that you possibly can with Liverpool. But on the other side of it I always had in mind that he was going to be the club captain. That he loves the club, he never wants to leave. And now this has come along. I don't know whether it's just some clickbaity material trying to generate another story from somewhere, or whether it's genuine, or maybe just a tactic to manipulate contract talks a little bit. I don't know. I wouldn't blame him if he did want to go. It wouldn't. I don't think it would be the same like years ago as you referred to with Gerrard and Chelsea. I don't think it would be that sort of level. I can't say to blame him for wanting to try somewhere else, but at the same time, I still can't see it happening. I don't know. I'm on the fence with it, really.
It is hard, and I still can't see him going, if I'm honest, because the Scouse, he's vice captain. He's going to be club captain. Obviously, he's going to be club captain at some point. And, his idol, Steven Gerrard, he's going to lead into that sort of role of where Steven Gerrard was. But again, it's down to whether slot players in where he wants to play are. But don't give in to him. If he wants to play midfield and he's not good enough for midfield, don't play midfield. It's as simple as that. If he thinks he's a right back, play him at right back. If you want to play him the way, but I still think he's a right back personally. But again, I think there's doubts over like the ambition of the club as well. Obviously, people also question the ambition of the club, and the players need to know that as well. It's okay saying, "No, we've got the right manager in Slot," but then if Slot's not allowed to progress with a better team, and we're going to talk about transfers at some point coming in, but if Slot can't get the transfers to come in as well, and is always relying on what he's got, the way Klopp was, then Klopp only won one title in the 8-9 years he was here. And that's the best manager we've had since Shankly and Paisley. So these players see that. If we could only do that with this manager, what's going to happen with Slot? And that's no disrespect to Slot either, because I think Slot's a very, very good coach. But you've got to think of the mind of the players. That's why Virgil's thinking, he said what he said, because he wants to win. He wants a legacy here. And you either go down the Gerrard route where you play absolutely loyal, and Gerrard probably looks back at his career and thinks, I'm so glad I did that. But there's still part of him thinking, hang on, look what I could have won. Yeah. And when he's in conversations with his other people and rivals, don't put him on his pedestal because of what he hasn't won. These players want that as well. And Trent's a bit different because he's a Liverpool fan, grew up in Liverpool, Scouser, grew up a Liverpool fan, like Gerrard, so he's got that link to the club. But people like Van Dijk and stuff, they didn't grow up Liverpool fans. They grew up football fans wanting to succeed, and the best of the best, they want to be the most successful. And again, like you guys, all three of you said that I wouldn't begrudge him going. I'd understand it slightly, but it would be a massive kick in the teeth, wouldn't it, Stu?
Yeah. I'm not for 1 second saying it wouldn't be. And when it does come down to the ambition side of things, and if the club did let him go for a free, that does raise a lot of questions on how much effort the club actually made to sign a new contract with him or to meet some of his demands, and that has a knock-on effect. I do agree there. It has a knock-on effect to the other players, and then they start questioning things like the likes of McAllister, for example, may start at the end of next season questioning, well, I've been here 2 years. Depending on the season that we had, so you may be looking at going,
you don't like winning. Yeah, if you don't like winning.
Yeah.
I said the same about Salah. I said the same about Salah when regarding his getting him in a new contract. If he's going to give, he's got to see Liverpool coming back up on this rebuild last season. We looked good last season. At times we're looking like to back up, but again, if we might regress again, losing Klopp and going to Slot, we might regress again, and it's another 2 years then back into a title challenge, back into winning a title. And these players have got short careers, and they can't rely on what ifs. They need, Liverpool should be a title challenging club regardless. This season's fine. With Slot, it's fine. In the first season, get that top four. That's it. That's the aim. Get that top four, and then build onto that. But next season, we should be title challenging.
Damon, do you think this is a bit of bad luck contract-wise? Because when this would have been sorted, Klopp comes out and says, I'm going. So naturally, it's understandable that no player at that time who's up for contract are going to turn around and say, well, yeah, I want to sign. I think it's bad luck on Slot's part and on the club's part that it's coincided with players who have got just over a year left on the contracts. For that, ideally, what should have happened with hindsight is Klopp went last season rather than now, and then that then paves the way, I think, for players to have a season and allows the club to then move on in a way. I think it's just one of those things that naturally would have been resolved, but because of the position and how if you look at the timeline of how it's happened, it's hard to not say it isn't bad luck, because a lot of it is, because it's just coincided with certain players and very special players and talented players who are coming naturally to the end of their cycle of contract and are about to renew. And now that transition is kind of being forced on the club to make a decision on it, which then makes us make knee-jerk reactions. Do you know, agree?
I think it's a mixture of both. I think yeah, it's bad luck with the Klopp situation. Also, the Euros going on as well now, as with Trent going to England. But I also think a competent club and a club that's run properly in the background will. Oh, it took us back. So I also think a club in the background, if it's run competently and run correctly in the background, they prepare for things like this. Like, they're not guaranteed for Klopp to go. You know, that came out of someone, but they've had since October, November. He told them November. He told them he was going. So they should have then started working on contracts as well.
Oh yeah, they can, but it puts those individuals and players in a precarious position.
It does, yeah.
Of, do I sign up now based on that, or do I wait and see? And naturally, if that's your work, you be naturally going, well, I'm not going to sign my contract until I see something. I see what happens. I just think it's an element of that. I'm not saying it's all down to that, but there is an element of that it's just coincided. It's a bit like, as well as Nunes and our front three not being able to score near the latter part of the season, but that's down to the fact that everyone's out of form, and we've never had that before. And it's just one of those hard luck, bad luck situations that you can't explain. I just think there's a bit of that going on as well, and I don't think this should all fall down on Trent being and we all go, and it's like McManaman situation. I just think there's a lot of things that have happened this summer that haven't made it ideal for a
easy.
New manager.
Yeah.
I
feel bad for Slot.
You got a European and a South American competition tournament going on, and you're going through a transition. And you got three big players who are on the last part of their actual contracts. It's very hard to deal with, especially when some of them are going latter into tournaments as well, and you haven't had that much kind of contact with them. So it's a very precarious situation. I do think he will sign, and I do think a bit of what Stu said is right as well, that it may be a little bit of clickbait, but I'm unsure. I do think the Bellingham links, I think the fact that how friendly they are, it's hard not to have that kind of 1 + 1 equals something. We had that last season with Bellingham. He goes to Madrid. I can see Trent going there at some point. I just think, it will get sorted, but I don't think it'll be as soon as. I think this could drag on till Christmas time, maybe, before it's
It could, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then it's going back down to his last 6 months of his contract. It's going to be tight wiring then. Thank you, Centeno, for your gifted super chat there. Edwards and Co want to get rid of Klopp players. This feels like when Coutinho wanted out and sold him. Trent is thinking out. He's gone. I think it's okay to think at both sides of this. I mean, I think we all here think that Trent will sign anyway because of the Scouse thing. He thinks, he's going to be club captain at some point. It makes sense. But again, we're all saying as well that, we understand if he does want to go, if he's under the calling and, they just literally won the Champions League. So they go again and looking like they're going to win Champions League again. It's it's very, very tempting, very tempting. And again, like Miguel Delaney says in the report, it's inclusive tempted for Trent, so it's understandable. Trent's contract should have never been allowed to go down to even 2 years left. Julian Ward should have had him renewed before the last. I think that's what point I was trying to make as well. I don't think we should be leaving it to the last minute. I know it's bad luck that things that I feel bad for Slot, if I'm honest. It's probably the worst time for him to join with all this, with the player contracts, Jurgen Klopp taking over Jurgen Klopp anyway. The tournament's going on. It's a bad time. But again, if the club was properly run behind the scenes and we're the proper director of football in last year instead of a temporary one, then these contracts might have been sorted by now.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we're having here now. We've got a temporary sporting director in, and it's sort of all gone to shit. If Edwards were brought in last year or someone a proper sporting director and say, go forward, sort these contracts out first before the summer comes up. Instead, we're trying to sort contracts out now in the summer with a new manager, new sporting director, and we need some transfers as well. So it's all trying to do it in one summer. It's like rebuilding and refill in one summer. It shouldn't be done. And this is what about the planning and the proactiveness that the club doesn't do instead of reactiveness. And that's where frustrations are starting. So let's go on to the Leny Yoro, the links and the Saga itself. Obviously, he's joining Manchester United now, having said to us that he wants to be on Madrid. So the report that's coming out today by David Lynch was that Liverpool were put off by the 60 appearances that he's made. They didn't want to take the risk of the money, the wages. I think his wages are going for like 112,000 a week. I think it's like £42 million in terms of the fee. I've seen £112,000. People keep changing the numbers to suit whatever narrative they want to put out, but okay. I've seen 112,000, and that was straight from my United sort of page as well. So, but originally, the reason why Liverpool didn't go for him is because he said no to them and he wants Real Madrid. So now the narrative's changing. This is what makes me question, what are Liverpool pushing out here? Because now what's coming from Liverpool is that we didn't want to take the risks of the 60 apps. And there's a lot of frustration online. And there's a big meltdown with a lot of fans of the Euro situation. And what I want to do is address this because I think it's more than Euro. And I don't think there's a lot of people out there that want the player. There's a lot of people that want Ugarte. There's a lot of people that want Inacio. There's a lot of people that want different players. And there are going to be some out there, especially online. There's going to be some that go too far on this, like saying, "Oh, this guy was the guy. This guy was the guy." He could have been the guy. I mean, Real Madrid don't go for anyone, by the way. Real Madrid don't go for anyone, and this kid is like probably one of the next best things going out there. And again, it's not. I don't think it was to take over Kwanzaa either, because Kwanzaa's as good as anyone in his own right now. I think it's more taking over Van Dijk at some point. So the comparisons to Kwanzaa and Yoro again is a bit mad. I think it's a mad comparison when we're trying to look at Van Dijk replacement rather than looking at Kwanzaa anyway. And the club did want him as a main target because Paul Joyce came out and said it. David Ornstein came out and said it. Reece, give me initial thoughts about the saga as a whole. Where do you stand on Liverpool standing on this and waiting and watching from outside?
Like you said before, it seems like they're very reactionary, which is not. I'd rather be like in and amongst it and getting things done. But obviously he's a talented player, but like I said, it's tricky because obviously now he's saying that if United could have turned his head, and obviously United's a big club, but they're kind of in a mess and they're not in Champions League. Why couldn't we have turned his head? It's like, for me, I don't think they really tried to persuade him. It's like they probably looked like, do you want to come to Liverpool? And he's just like, no. And they're like, okay. Whereas for me, sometimes he might have said no. Yeah, I mean, he wants to go to Real Madrid, but it's like, for me, you don't just give up because he says that. If you really want to play, you try and sell your project, what your ambitions are for the next couple years and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I do think he's talented, but I do think at the same time, it's a lot of pressure because where he's been playing? Is he playing for like a season?
It's like Lille,
So that's going to be a big step up as well. And you got you'll kind of be able to tell when he comes to the Premier League whether he's that real deal or not. And I do also think if we were to get him, he wouldn't be first choice. So maybe that might even play a part. Whereas maybe for United, he might go straight in. Obviously, it just looks our fans are going to be frustrated because United obviously look like they're making moves for a few players. Obviously, you try not to watch other teams, but Liverpool don't look like they're doing anything at the minute. Not even contracts, don't even look like they're doing. So, of course, fans are going to be frustrated. But I'm not too worried about not getting him because I don't really think we necessarily need him, but we do need to at some point sign one or two players. But from what it looks like, I'm sure he said Slot that he wants to assess the whole team. So like I said, for me, we're not going to probably get someone until the end of July, maybe at like last minute. So even as frustrating,
end of August,
that's what he said. So for me, I'm not getting frustrated because I'm not in control of it. As much as I want to be a little bit irritated and stuff, he's already said he wants to look at the whole team, and I can understand that because he could come in and start ruffling feathers and upsetting people straight away, and that's not what you want to do. He's already kind of got a difficult task as it is coming in after Klopp, so he might look at some players and think, oh, that player's actually a decent player, looks like he's ready. And that might even prevent us from having to sign someone unnecessarily. So, yeah.
Derek Sutton said, I heard 150k I heard as well. Over 100 is a joke for 18-year-old. Bless United, they don't learn. Again, I think you're sort of right with regarding Man United. Like, obviously, they're paying a lot of wage out on this for an 18-year-old that doesn't know. But if he is the star that Real Madrid are going after here, then it's probably worth it. Like, we paid 85 million for Nunes. I don't know why we're laughing at anyone else overpaid for players. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you can't laugh at someone else doing that. And again, Man United, they did it with Branthwaite. They wanted Branthwaite, 80 million. They said, no, we're not overpaid for that. And they've gone out there and paid for less for this guy who's supposed to be like the next big thing. The one that Real Madrid are going after. So I think in the end, Man United have actually learned a little bit from the past. So the new owners have come in. They have learned a little bit. Man United of the past would have gone and bought Branthwaite for 80 million. They wouldn't even bothered with Yoro. And that's, I think they have learned slightly, but yeah. We don't know if it's going to be overpaying yet anyway, because if he comes out and beats that Van Dijk sort of player, I'm not saying he's going to hit Van Dijk levels, but you know what I'm saying, that sort of impact on Man United, then it's probably worth the money in the end anyway. So, and 50 million is really not for someone that's regarded so highly in football. More worried about McAllister than Trent. I can't see the Scouts are doing the dirty on us, and United can have Yoro, let them overpay again. Ma'am, it's going to be a dark year, lads. The fact that we have no clue what is going on is probably the biggest issue. We all pretty much know what we need, but the constant contradicting reporting does not help at all. I think you made a good point, Reece, about in wanting to assess the squad. But again, I think we all as fans know what we need in terms of, we definitely need a DM and a centre back. That's absolute must, and we need to start looking at the right wing. With Salah getting older and older. So even then, if we leave it late in August, Stu, is it going to be panic buy again? That's the worry.
Yeah, are we going to end up with another Andy Carroll?
An
Arthur Mello that I'm thinking of.
No, don't speak into existence, Stu. Please.
It's a tough one. I get the fact that, as has been alluded to, it's a transition period. A lot of new backroom staff, obviously new manager coming in. He has been, like you said, you can't blame Slot for this. He's got to come in and assess the entire squad, find out what's going on with the contract situations. None of that's his fault at all. No. Quite rightly saying, the contract situation should not have been allowed to get to this point. Not for your 3-star players, realistically. As for the assessing of the squad, I think what we're on, was he 3 weeks into the job now, and the vast majority of the squad are back. So I would expect it's like sort of his own reports to be going back, like sort of up to the boardroom or the financing guys and going, right, okay, these are the ones who I think need to go out on loan. These are the ones who I want to keep for the season. These are the gaps that I would like filling. And I would expect some sort of movement by the end of this month. Will it go all the way to transfer deadline day? it's potentially going to go to that. I hope not, because it does. I don't like it looking like a panic buy, even though they come out afterwards and say, "Yeah, we've done our research, we've done our scouting, we've looked at all the data and stuff like that." I look at that and go, "Well, if you did that, why didn't you just sort it all out a month ago?" Or
You know what's so funny, Stu? You know what's so funny? The more we mess around, the more we leave it later, the more clubs can bend us over for transfer fees.
Exactly. It's doing that side of things. I really hope Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes ain't going to do that. I really do. But I do think we'll see more movement come the end of this month. I think, so we're now hitting that period where, as I say, Slots assess the squad now, or the vast majority anyway, before the last few come back. But he'll know more about them anyway. I think it's more about assessing the squad players, the youngsters, to see what he can do with them more than anything else. So yeah, well, just be a little bit more patient, I think. And he's just chilling a little bit more than anything else.
I think we'll definitely see more when the pre-season starts as well. But again, Kev's alluded to a point, Kev, like you'd rather players be in for pre-season and get those minutes under the belt.
You would, but at the same time, you know, and it's intriguing. You look at Alex Inglethorpe; he's come into in the floor now with the first team. So there's a lot more potential in that academy than what either we are perceived to, or there may be even more. You see the wealth of what that academy's worth, and we always feel like there's a bit of jealousy with Liverpool fans. I think there's an element of looking at what Todd Bowley does at Chelsea and go, I'd like a little bit of that, a little glimmer of that, a little bit of a go at that. I don't want the model, but there's a bit of a dark enviness of the fact that they just go out and just buy whoever they want.
I think there is some refiners out there that want to do that.
Yeah, there is, and we've said it before, Damon, that we're not going to please everyone, and whatever we do is not going to, you know. I can see there being a meltdown because Sepp van der Berg is going to be kept on at the club, and a lot of people will want a new person in. But then you look at the data, and we are the data-driven analysis structure that we're under now. And you look at the Yoro situation. Yeah, Real Madrid were interested, but Man United have paid 3 times more than what Madrid were willing to pay, and they've got a player that in 2 to 3 years will want to be going to play for Real Madrid, who's on €7,000 a week and is now on 130. It's ridiculous for the person who's only played 61 games at a high level in League One. If you look at the data, and it's data driven, Branthwaite's the better option than a Yoro because he's played in 2 leagues and has done really well in the Dutch and in the Premier League, and it makes more sense that Everton didn't have to sell because they'd done the PSR thing with the Aston Villa and sold other players around that, and now in a position where that's the amount that we want, and that's not Everton doing them out of a service. That's Everton being like a club should be. This is the amount that we want. It's a bit like Leicester when they said to Man United, "We want 80 now because 75 is not good enough because we want him to be the best centre half in the world in Maguire." Things change, and you know everyone's wax lyrical about what United have done. I don't think they've done anything. They bought someone way over the odds that anyone was willing to pay, us, PSG, and Real Madrid, to the point where you know we get carried away as though like he's the only centre back in the world that has been sold this at this moment in time. So, and because we're cold turkey. And I've been since the start of this window, and I've waited till tournaments to end, and then we see an element of someone buying someone. We go, oh, we all kick off. But if we take a step back and look, how many of the top 3 have actually gone out and bought someone? No one yet. The teams that are buying people are way behind us and needed to make those changes. The likes of Villa have changed. They've got rid of Louise and now bringing an Arnold in from Everton, which could be a good deal for them. United need to change their structure. Although they're saying that we don't pay the United tax, well, I think they have done with Yoro if they take the deluded eyes away and tinted glasses off. Because if you look at that deal, that just beats of a Casemiro for me, and players that you don't. Yeah, he's got the potential, but he hasn't really done it in a decent league and against decent players. Do you know what I mean? So again, that's just my own opinion. And he's only played 61 games. And if he was that much of a potential, why wasn't he in the Euros for France? So we can get all carried away with what United are doing, but it's not United of 20 years ago under Ferguson. It's United still in the transition that are overspending on players. Then they don't need to when they've got they've got a real sun centre as a stadium. They haven't got a training ground that's anywhere up to speed, and they're buying a player who literally why he's gone there because they haven't got Champions League football. Kind of makes me wonder what's going on. It's madness at the minute, and I think if we had bought a squad player, like I said last night, I think there would have been a less of a reaction. But we are knee-jerk reaction at the minute, and it's because we want something. But as we know, the journalists have said it's hard to understand where Liverpool's priorities are this year. So even if we go in for someone, no one's actually going to know that that's our priority. And this could be the club spinning out things to make us look as though, and then kicking off and making us get to a point. And then next week we buy someone, and then it's like a bipolar effect in which is what we are. We go from depressed to high within a matter of days, hours. Do you know what I mean? Based on what a journalist says or what a snippet of an Instagram follow is. It's very fickle, and it's very fragile to deal with and balance and try and come up with something that is kind of doesn't beat the narrative, but can understand it. But I think sometimes we just need to take a step back and see it in the grand terms of things, rather than seeing, oh my God, the only centre back in the world's going, and he's gone to United of all places. But if we take a step back and look what they've actually got for the player, yeah, he's got potential, but that potential is based on what? You know, he's 12 months left in his contract. Real Madrid we ain't going to pay more than 20 for him. So they're getting 60 with the add-ons. So that's just ridiculous. And they've got a question in 2 to 3 years' time that if he does get better, Real Madrid will come call him and he'll want out. So do you want that as well? And I think we would be more peeved off in reflection if we did what United did, because we're going, why are we spending that much on him?
Unless it does turn into Virgil.
I don't even think he really wants to go there for me. His heart is on Real Madrid. I think the money they're offering him or the package they're offering him, I think it's that.
And Lil did want to get rid of him. Lil was trying to.
Yeah, and he'll probably be at United for a year or two, and then when Real Madrid come, that's where he's going to want to go.
But to be fair, though, with United, though, I do think they will be back at some point. And
no, I do agree, but I don't think
if they are building a team, it's better to go for these sort of youngsters that potential, you know, the way we did a little bit. And yes, I do think they will be back. So.
But I do think you need experience as well. And
definitely.
If you look, there's 2 players there for me with Varane and Casemiro that are experienced seasonal winners, and they've got rid of them, which for me is a mistake.
They got rid of Casemiro, have they?
No,
he played the other day, didn't he?
He's on the verge of going though. He's not trying to stay,
I think they'll keep him just for the experience. I do. Hi, Kev, V, Stu, and whoever Darren is. Hello, Darren. Nice to meet you, guy. This summer, I'm cool with 2 players, a centre back, a DM, and we are pretty stocked elsewhere. I think we definitely need at least 2 players, and that's bare minimum. I'm being kind there. I'm being kind. I'm convinced that Klopp told them last year that he was leaving. I think we also need to remember that this new group don't leak anything to the press. If there's a leak, they don't get them. Nico Slotterbeck is better than Yoro, says Toyota. I'll ask Darren what he thinks about it in a minute. It's what United do after these 2 signings where I might start to worry more. At the moment, I'm not asked about them yet. Exactly. I mean, that's what we need to do. I think let them do the business now. If it don't work, it don't work. But if they do come back up, if they do start to play better, and they've got some decent players at United, let's be honest here. Manu's a decent player. Bruno Fernandes is a decent player if he gets his whinging out. You know what I'm saying? They've got some very, very good players. Garnacho's a decent player. So if they do build right, they could either go in the wrong direction. And what I don't want us to do is stand still and let these catch up. We need to be looking at Arsenal, Man City, and that's a dangerous. I'm seeing right now where if we stand still, we'll be looking backwards instead of forwards. We'll be looking at United coming chasing us. We're looking at Spurs coming chasing us. I don't think Spurs ever will, but you know what I'm saying? We need to start concentrating. We're behind Arsenal and Man City now. This is where we need to improve. If Arsenal and Man City don't improve, then that's on them. But Man City technically don't need to because they're top. They're the winners, so we shouldn't be looking at it. I think Arsenal want to, but I think Man City will, by the way, get at least 1-2 players.
With Arsenal,
I think Arsenal won.
I don't think we're that behind them, though, because if you look at the season, we was ahead of them most of the season. We just bottled it, and then they ended up going in front of us.
I think they've got a more consistent.
They're maybe first 11.
They've got most 11.
Their squad's not.
That's what they need to improve on. That's what they are doing. Like getting someone like Calafieri in there. If they got him, for example, that's improving the squad. That's giving them more options, and that's what I'm scared of.
They sound like they're messing about with that deal though, because they're stalling. Really, Liverpool. That's what they need to do. They need to just come in and hijack that. Because all they're asking for is 42 million. That's not even a lot. And for me, you can play centre back and left back. That kind of kills two birds with one stone for us. So.
I mean, Jamie says here, Van der Beek's stats last season were equal to Yoro playing in hard league. I don't look at stats that much, Jamie, though. A lot of people base their opinions completely off stats. I'd rather watch the player and look at stats, involve the stats. Obviously, we need to look at stats as well, but I don't just put it out on Twitter that these stats. That's how you compare them. You got to watch them play football, and you get a major. And if Van der Beek were that good, we wouldn't be selling for £20 million, and no one wants to buy him for £20 million. So, it works either way. We're saying we've got Van der Beek, we'll be all right. We don't need a centre back. We've got Van der Beek, but it's us that's wanting to sell him, and it's us that's targeting another defender. It's Edwards and Hughes that are looking at Yoro. They made him a target. According to Paul Joyce and Ornstein, who are very, very reliable journalists, by the way. Especially Joyce. Joyce is like the Liverpool journalist that he don't get anything wrong really, 99% of the time. So what I want to address is the meltdowns online, and also the other side of it as well. I think there's a middle ground to be had, and I need this discussion because people. Also, I'm not a big fan of FSG. I want them to change, and I've always given them the option to change. Just change a little bit, just help us a little bit, just give us that little bit extra 1 or 2 players. And the narratives I see online is people that are FSG out want 20 players. They want £100 million players. They want this and that, and not really. We just need that extra one. I mean, if we don't get a DM and centre back again, that's to me, it's not good enough. That's the extra 2 players, the extra 2 players that we need really to give Slot the best chance, give Klopp the best chance when he was here. And what I don't like is those that are hashtag FSG out, because I don't think that helps anything. It makes them look crazy. Then I'd rather have a discussion, an adult, sensible discussion between fans and why people feel like they don't like FSG and why people feel like they like FSG as well. There's good things for FSG, there's also bad things for FSG. And what I don't like is people calling people names, calling people insults, and going insults instead of actually having an adult discussion. We're all adults here. There might be kids on Twitter, but you don't mean you can act like one and throw insults out at people that think differently about certain situations. And this Yoro situation as well, it's not just about Yoro for me either. I think it's more of we saw a target, said we wanted him, and we just sat back. And I think that's the issue that a lot of fans have, and a lot of people that are like in the middle ground are trying to explain that. The more, because it happened with Bellingham. We watched Bellingham for 3 years. 3 years, and that was our excuse not to buy a midfielder. We're waiting for Bellingham. Bellingham becomes available. I didn't know that much money. What are you on about? That's why the frustration comes, because it's happened again and again and again. And when people get told, "Oh, just be patient," but they've been told to be patient in the past. This is what I'm trying to say, and I am being very, very patient, by the way. And I just don't want signings. I just want the best for the Liverpool, if I'm honest. I want Slot to have the best chance of getting to reach his targets this season. And I want to win titles and trophies within the next few years as well. But because they've been told over and over again, it's happened before, and it's happened before, and been insulted over those times. Frustration builds up and builds up and builds up, and it explodes. And a lot of people can't keep that frustration in, unfortunately. But that's just life. That's people. Some people can, some people can't. But what they don't need is just insults. I put a tweet out earlier, and I said, well done for Theo Squires at Liverpool Echo, who actually questioned what's going on here. He basically questioned saying, well, he said there were opportunities, and he said Yoro seemed like an opportunity side, and he didn't really do anything about it. But he also said then, like, it worries me that they're going into they said they were going to make a move in late August, and that doesn't really go down well normally at Liverpool when we make late moves. It's always panic. And he's right for us doing it. And this is all I ask for journalists to do is yes, be praise of the club, but also question when they do get things wrong. Fucking question them about it. That's what journalism is about for me. It's about being in the side of right more than being in the side of trying to look after your privilege of the club and stuff. And I think, and let people have opinions as well. I understand the frustration online. I don't, it's pointless putting hashtag FHG out because I don't get it. It's pointless. It's embarrassing, if I'm honest. But then I also don't get the other side where people are just like, oh, these FSG outers are all this, they're all that, they're all this. Not all of them are. A lot of them could have a genuine discussion about it. And Reese, do you think there should be more discussions, like proper open discussions between fans like this? Because it seems like childish on both sides.
Yeah, I think there should be open discussions, but as long as it's conducted in a mature way, like you said, where you're able to have a debate, people can put their opinions on, people are not taking it personally or like taking it to heart. Obviously, you got people who want FSG in, you got people who want them out. They've done some good things. Obviously, they've done questionable things as well. But yeah, ideally, yeah, fans kind of should be more be able to be more involved to be able to have a say.
Jay Moose says, can the panel speak here? Well, I've got to address the things though, Moose. I've got to say it properly. I don't want to say one thing half-hearted and give you half of what needs to be said, because serious situations are out there where people are insulting people for no reason. They don't even know them, and they're throwing insults out, and I can't stand it. When we're all adults here, we should all just having a single chat. Elio says, do love history, David. It's the most transparent love style on the channel. I mean, writing points and all that. That's what lovers do. FSG won't buy big top players. We're used to it. Again, like I said, we can buy big top players if we had the money to do it. But that's what I'm saying. The only time we had the money to do it was Coutinho, and that won us the league and won us the Champions League. And we don't need big money players either. That's what I'm trying to say to you. We don't need big money players. We don't need 20 players either. We just need some of the best players out there.
We don't buy them. We make them.
We don't, exactly.
We always have done.
Yeah,
that's just been the club model from year dot. It's just the way it is. I understand fans wanting the big money signings. Hell, I wouldn't mind it just to show that the club does actually have the ambition. But you have to understand as well that the club's ambition has always been to make the stars, not buy the stars, so to speak. And I think that's where fans lose a little bit of sight of it. Yeah, everybody would love to get a little bit woohoo and celebratory that we've just splashed 80, 90 million on one player who's going to be a star player. But realistically, it's not going to happen. And it never, unless we lose one of our star players in their prime as well for a lot of money. So, like Coutinho, like you say. So
this is one thing that bamboozles me. Where has the Caicedo money gone to?
Well, it's a fair point though. But again, I don't think we were ever in for Caicedo. I think that was just.
I think it was a PR stunt. I still believe that, but people won't. But
I don't see it. I don't say it's just not our style. I mean, when that came out last season, they said that we were going to bid, what was it, 120 million. I was just like, I can't see Liverpool spending that amount of money on one player. It just doesn't make sense for what we've been used to and how they buy players. I mean, look at the likes of McAllister. 35 million. That's right in our sort of our price bracket, our model of what we spend on for good players. It's almost like, okay, he was a little bit more, 60, but that is probably, again, our top end bracket besides Van Dijk. But again, that was 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago now, in fact, wasn't it?
Yeah, 5 years now. Yeah, must be 5 years easy. Yeah.
So again, we don't go extravagant on transfer fees. So I think fans just need to forget that and just look at our recent transfer activity over the last 4 or 5 years and just accept it. It's not going to change. It's not the FSG model. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing because FSG have.
It's a mixture. It's a mixture.
They've done a lot of good things.
Part of it's good, yeah.
Yeah, the training ground, the money into the youth system, into the women's football, into the stadium, the surrounding areas and stuff like that. Fantastic. But I think their whole business model is just something that's really alien to us and it's very hard to understand. And I don't think it's something that we'll ever get used to, especially when you got somebody as, like you say, as brash and as outlandish as Todd Bowley, who's just like, yeah, whatever, cash, money, matter.
I think there's definitely a middle ground to be had, and I think where we don't want to be like Chelsea or Man United, where they're just throwing cash around. We don't want to be that. That's just ridiculous. But we also want to be like, want to improve every single year and not be less sharp. And that's the issue that a lot of people have with FSG is that me personally, I don't think their ambitions is for Liverpool. I don't think they care about Liverpool as much as as they can do. I mean, they're looking at other ventures right now, and they could easily forget about Liverpool quite easily. But again, I still think they put the right structures in place as well at the same time by thinking that. I still think that also the thing with the club, the stands and the thing, they've done some brilliant stuff, but I just think their ambition isn't there. And I think our transfer budget starts about 40 million for a club like Liverpool. It shouldn't do.
I think for me, it's all down to interaction. It's not having transparency and communication coming from like sort of the top parts of what is the ambition for the club. We haven't had that for probably since FSG when they first came in. I don't remember any sort of major statement coming out from saying, okay, this is the direction for the club now that the stadium is finished for the moment. The training ground's done. This is our 5-year plan. This is what we are aiming for now, and this is how we are going to do it. We've had nothing like that. And I think that, again, is a little part of why fans are feeling a little in the dark about what's going on at the moment.
I mean, and this, again, we might not have a club like FSG. Yeah, you can thank them for that, but I might not have a job if one from my manager. It doesn't mean she can smack me in the face every 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? I could be thankful for giving me the job, but it doesn't mean they can treat me like shit. This is the problem. Like, we can be thankful, but we also can criticise, and we need a good mix. Kev, let's talk about Maka and his dad has come out and said, and sort of basically said like if Real Madrid were interested in the future, that they would be open to sort of a move. It's the South Americans again, isn't it, Kev? I mean, Diaz's father's already gone on certain things. Do you worry about McAllister as well in the future?
Not really, no. He's a 1 year into his 4 or 5 year contract. I think he'll have a similar deal that he had at Brighton, which was a gentleman's agreement that he'll go for a certain price and it'll be a certain price again. If he wants to go to Madrid in 4 years' time, I'm happy for him to go as long as we've got people who have replaced him and have better improvements in the squad. Don't mind anyone going.
We're proactive about it, yeah.
Exactly, and you've got to realise with some South American players, there is a law to Spanish clubs, Real Madrid, Barcelona. There's that part of them that don't actually want to be in England. They want to spend a bit of time in here to adapt and get the money that we pay and play in the best league allegedly. But then they do want to go to Spain and they want to see out there, the dream of playing for Real Madrid or for Barcelona, whichever team that may be. It doesn't bother me. It's something that you have to deal with. I think I'm not too fussed. If there's anything I'm more concerned about is I'd like to be on the fly on the wall for the Trent slot discussion, because that's the integral one for me this season for this summer. And if we get that sorted, it doesn't bother me at all.
I mean, Reece, this is going to be next few weeks going to be absolutely massive. Like, obviously, we all want at least two set the back of the DM definitely coming in, and then the contract situation. Are you prepared for it?
Kind of. Obviously, I can't see the future, but I'm confident that Salah or definitely Van Dijk and then Trent will sign new deals. Salah's the only one I'd be worried about because I don't see them putting his wages up. So in terms of if Xavi was to say he wants to sign new deal, but he wants 400,000 or he wants this, I don't see it going any higher. But I still, like I said, do believe that we will get one or two players. Like I said, we just kind of got to be patient. Obviously, it's not easy because there's social media and stuff, and there's other clubs doing this and doing that, but you can't really watch other clubs. And like I said, I got confidence in Slot, even though some people are saying, because it's a transition, because he's coming in and we not got a club that our target should be top 4. My target's not top 4. My target is to challenge, just like how we did last season, to try and go one step further.
I get it. I mean, the challenges of Liverpool Football Club should be challenging anyway, regardless.
Yeah.
Again, context needs to be used. It depends how we get it as well. I'd even be, I won't say happy, but I'd be sort of happy getting 4th, depending on the context of things. Like if we hadn't dropped off too much, or 5. If we could say we're closer to Man City and Arsenal, we'll come 4th, then that's okay in terms of as clubs and challenging in cups as well. There's definitely context that needs to be used, but as a club for Liverpool, we should be challenging for the title regardless. I'm talking at least the next few years.
Winning the trophy. Obviously, I want to win the Prem, but if we don't win the Prem every season, ideally, we should be trying to win something. So that's because we're Liverpool, like you said, we're a massive football club. That should be the target. It shouldn't be top 4. I've never understood that. And obviously, I know before, like, Arsene Wenger kind of made that a thing with Arsenal, in it. That's why it kind of became like, top 4. That should never, for me as a big club, that should never be a target. Why are you trying to? I mean, that should be for teams that have never, ain't really got history like that, who haven't really been in Champions Leagues and stuff like that.
I actually think it's a target for owners now, though. I think a target for owners is top 4 because of the money situation.
Yeah, I get it.
Because most owners see this as a business rather than a football club. They don't see the football; they see the business and making that money.
But I get it. But for me, like I said, if you look at Real Madrid, the Man Cities, the Bayern Munich, the Barcelonas, even Barcelona, the state they're in, they're never targeting being like top 4. Their target is to try and win and compete for everything.
I think they're run by football people as well, though. That's the thing. And they're run by proper ambitious people. This is thank you again, Tenner, for your $5 super chat. This is the salary cap model America. Isn't that coming to the Premier League, guys? This is how American owners operate. A salary cap would be amazing if it came to America, if it came to Britain. That's the only thing I want to come from America, if I'm honest. I don't want the franchise, I don't want all that. I don't want advertisements the way it is. But yeah, I'd definitely take a salary cap because it would, I think, put people on a bit more of a level playing field. Yeah. But then again, they'd probably make it up for in transfer fees. That'd probably go up tenfold if there's a salary cap. There's always a way of rich people to become richer, and that's the problem. Yeah. All the money Chelsea spent on nearly 40 million academy player was their best signing. Arnold's target £250 million. Quintet as Michael rekindles 5-year-old Liverpool desire. About there, George, I'm afraid. But as we get on through the transfer window, you're going to see it hotting up anyway. It's already hotting up. We've already had Reece in his tank tops doing this week. Kev, third time looking at it.
Yeah. Kev, you're up next. Next week. It's your turn. And then after that, it's your turn, Damon. You're not getting out of it either, mate.
What I'm trying to say to you, all I'm trying to say to you is
save the best to last, Damon.
As these weeks go on, people are removing more and more clothes. I've noticed anyway, and that I don't know if it's the heat. I don't know if it's the heat of here or it's the heat.
There's no camera big enough for me, so no chance of that happening.
I don't know if it's the heat of England changing or the heat of the transfer windows going up, but it is going to heat up in the next few weeks. Whether Liverpool are involved in it, no one really knows. I don't think Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes know if Liverpool are really going to be involved in it the next couple of weeks. But yeah, first game for Arne Slot tomorrow in a behind the closed doors game against Preston. Let's hope he assesses the team very well in that game, and let's see where we can go. But again, what I can say for people out there that are arguing with each other, just listen to each other. don't throw insults out. Have a proper adult conversation. There's understandable reasons to be frustrated at FSG. There's understandable reasons to be patient as well. I think just talk it out, and that's what I can say to you. You know, insults it's just childish, if I'm honest. And well, there we go. Case starting for slot. Well, that's why it's behind closed door scenes. We don't want to see this absolute talent right here. This is what we've been holding back all this time. That's why we're not signing anyone. Thank you everyone for joining. Make sure you do come on to the YouTube if you are on the Twitter. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with all your Liverpool friends or even the rivals if you want to share it with the rivals as well. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn your notification bells on because we are live every single night at 7 or 7:30 because it's now changed back to 7:30 apparently. But 7:30 every single night. Get notification bells on and make sure you also tune into all the other content we do as well. As the transfer window does hot up, we will be doing more content and the season will be starting pretty soon as well. So keep your eyes peeled for more content and better content as well. And for these lovely three gentlemen here to join me every single Thursday and getting less clothing on as we go on. We'll have a discussion, Kev. We'll have a discussion. Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you for joining, and you'll never walk alone, guys. Thank you.